Hey guys, and welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you for all of your messages, and a special thanks here to everybody who has signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, and it's absolutely awesome. So thank you very much for that. I'll go through all of your messages. I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all your messages for definite. Right. So it seems like Insulate Britain, right, are making a complete nuisance of themselves again. But only this time, it's all for the wrong reasons because now the government have got themselves a injunction against them running up on like the M25. So obviously that's like a court order now, right? So you can't be breaking court orders because people get sent to prison for that straight up. You know what I mean? So they can't really be doing that. But I've just heard them on the because Priti Patel has vowed, right, that she's going to jail them and put them in prison, right? She's vowed to do this, right? And as Grant Shapps, he's pleased with he's pleased with the court order too. Right? So I've seen one of them up on actually one of them was on with Richard Madelin this morning on GMB, right? And he got up and he actually got up and ran out of the studio, right? Because it turns out that this fool was up in there, and his house is not insulated. You just think to yourself, only in Britain something like that could happen, right? At least insulate your house before you tell other people to insulate theirs. Do you know what I mean? He's trying to tell people to look on the bigger picture. Yeah, okay, but insulate your house. Right? So so now obviously now they've got the court order, but Insulated Britain have said, you know what, our protest ain't done. We're still gonna, because they was just on the radio a little while ago. They said, you know what, we're still gonna be out there doing our thing. So we're gonna see how that plays out now. Do you know what I mean? Whether or not that's gonna play out in the court, where we see a whole heap of pensioners getting flung down on remand, because that's what that could come to. Do you know what I mean? Listen, I don't know if you guys have seen Prime Minister's questions, but when I tell you, Angela Rayner, right, she absolutely beat the hell out of Dominic Raab in Prime Minister's questions today because it was like deputy leaders, right? And she pulled his pants down and she smacked his ass, right? When I tell you, the woman, she punched the hell out of him up in there, right? She had his backside on a plate. Right? She skewered him up in there, right? Seriously, she tore him to pieces. Right, she really did. She really did. She just tore him to pieces up in there. Do you know what I mean? And but really, Dominic Raab should have known, because if you know anything about Angela Rayner, she's a very, very fully accomplished politician. She's a very, very good politician. Do you know what I mean? And she's very, very forthright. And she can get to the point. And if you heard like the questions that what she just flung at him, was directly for us, for the working classes. Right, that's who she flung those questions for. When I tell you, she was just excellent at it. She just tore him a new one up in there. She just laid him out, knocked him out. Said, "Mama said, knock you out." Right, that's what happened to him up in there. Seriously, right? He was just made to look a complete and utter fool, right? Because see for you TiVos, right? Tories in vote only. Right, especially you who are on like the minimum wage, right? Do you know, right? For you to stay one night, right, in the resort where Dominic Raab was staying, I think it's in Crete, right? Do you know it would take you 50 weeks, right, of work, right, for you to stay one night in the resort, right? Because obviously you and Dominic Raab are the same, right? Because those type of people have your interest, right? Because he knows all about your type of life, right? Yeah. Right? While he's staying right in somewhere where it would take you 50 weeks of work to stay for one night. No. Because you know what, your hotels there's special deals when you get in the sun for £15. You go to Spain. Right? That's your holiday right there. Or it might be a staycation. Right? Them men is going on holidays, where you'd have to work 50. Remember, right? That don't include you. You can't spend any of that money, right, for the 50 weeks to save up to stay in his resort for one night. Yeah, you work close. But then again, obviously, right, you working class Tories you must be pretty wealthy anyway. You've got to be rich anyway, isn't it? Really, I mean, you've got to be, must be. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise, right? I mean, why the hell would you be voting for people who have who don't have your interest, right? Who can no way, right, relate to your life? Because he's staying in resorts, right, that would take you 50 weeks to stay in. So how the hell, right, can someone like that, right, know anything about your life? Anything? Can't do. That's why you're TiVos, Tories and vote only. Just for your life is completely ridiculous, right? So you see, when Jeremy Corbyn left, yeah, right. See, if I had anything to do, what I would have done is I would have had the whole front bench of Labour as women, right? Because you see, right, for me, right, I think that men have failed in politics. Men, if you don't like what I'm saying here, you don't need to listen. But I think that men have completely failed in politics. Do you know what I mean? Over the last, like, if we just look over the last 100 years, yeah, men have completely ruined the world. Destroyed the world, and it's all down to male politicians. Right. We've had two women leaders, yeah. But unfortunately for us, we've had the wrong type of women. Right. We've had women that that more act like men. Right. Thatcher never liked women. She never had no women around her really. Right. And Theresa May. Remember Theresa May, yeah? Where they said to Theresa May, yeah, would you push the nuclear button? Woman was like, yeah, give me the button. I'll push it now. Where's the button? Where is it? Where is the button? Give it. I'll push the button right now. You think, calm the hell down, Theresa. But the woman was ready to push the button on the spot. Do you know what I mean? Just to show you know what? Yeah, this is what I would do. She's ready to nuke the world. Right? So we've had all the wrong type of women. Do you know what I mean? If we had a world run by female politicians like Angela Merkel, listen, man, this world would be so much of a better place. The world would be an excellent place to live. It would be a beautiful place if we had that. Right? Be a beautiful place to live. Right? But men have failed completely. Do you know what I mean? Men have failed in politics. Do you know what I mean? It's just been pure wars. They've spent billions trillions on weapons. Trillions. Right? I think that if women had been running the world for all those years, right, I don't think women would have spent all that money on weapons. Right? These guys. They take this thing for no joke. They just spend whatever they want on the biggest weapons wherever they can find. Do you know what I mean? So men have failed in politics. And what they should do is they should give it over to the women, right? And as long as we get decent women to run, you know what I mean? Like Jacinda, right? You imagine that, Jacinda and Angela Merkel, right? Listen, that would be ideal for the world, right? Do you know what I mean? If every country had one of those two, had one of them, right, the world would be so much better. So for me, yeah, when Jeremy Corbyn left, yeah, really, Labour should have filled the front bench with women. They should have. I would have gone like probably Angela Rayner, leader, and then I would have had like probably Lisa Nandy, right, Rebecca Long Bailey, Diane Abbott, and and the rest, and I would have just had bare women. But I would have pulled them all to the side and said, listen, you know something, yeah, your enemy is over there, right? Your enemy is not at the side of you. Enemy's not behind you. Your enemy's right over there, right? Focus on them, because you see, any time the leftists can never get themselves together. No matter what they do, they can't get themselves together. The left. Right. What they do, is they form a circle and then they just start shooting their cannons at each other. right, before they start tackling the Tories, and by that time it's too late because the Tories all get behind the leader, right? So long as it's not Ian Duncan Smith, right? But that's what the Tories just do. Do you know what I mean? They're just regimented like that. Do you know what I mean? So they just get behind the one, right? Whereas the left can never organise themselves like that, and so people are just looking for, well, they're in complete disarray. What are you going to vote for them for? They're in complete disarray, and they do that. The left does that all the time. Do you know what I mean? You know, and it's just ridiculous. Yeah, you know, the Tories. Right, the only leader that I didn't see them get behind, was William Hague and Ian Duncan Smith. Right, right. But other than that, do you know what I mean? They just get behind their leader, right? And the left always mess up. No matter how you look at it, that's what the leftists always mess up. Do you know what I mean? So we've got this the same CO2 business, yeah, right? Now you see, right, this CO2 company, I believe they're based in Pennsylvania, right, with assets of 14 to 15 billion pounds or dollars, right? But yet for all, the British taxpayer, right, has to pay them tens of millions of pounds, right, so they'll continue to because these guys have got that much power. They only had to close down for a couple of hours, right? And then the government had to run up in there, right, and go and give them and start giving them some checks, right? When you've got this company with their assets, right? So we, the taxpayer, we've got to pay £1 billion company, right? We've got to pay them, right, so they can produce the CO2, right? But in fairness to them, the CO2, the price per ton has gone from £200, up to £1,000. Right? So, and you know, if we were still in the EU's energy, I can't remember what the name of it is, but if we were still in that, right, then our bills wouldn't have gone up that much. Right, but that's what they're dealing with. Do you know what I mean? So we have to go and bail them out, right? Now you see again, this is something that should be nationalised anyway. It should have been a nationalised thing anyway. Do you know what I mean? But these people, they've sold off everything. When I say everything, they sold off everything, right? Remember how they talk about how Gordon Brown sold off the gold? Oh, remember Gordon Brown? Yeah, he never went to Chequers. He never went to the party at Chequers either. I forgot to mention him the other night, but he never went to the party at Chequers either. Right? He was just like, I've got stuff to do, right? Up in Scotland. I believe he lives in Fife, right? So, and he just said, you know what? Remember, he sold off the gold, but these guys have sold off the silver, right? They've sold off everything. Right, this country right now is just down to the copper. That's all we've got. We've got nothing up in here. Right, we're just down to the bare copper now. Right, because we've gone past the stage of brass. Right, so we're just down to copper. Right, because these guys have sold off everything. Right, and now we're finding out, that this company, right, who produced the CO2, right, I think it's about 60 or 70% for this country they produce, right. So obviously that's the main bulk, right. But right, I said, right, a multi-billion-pound company, based in Pennsylvania. You have to ask yourself, how comes that company, has got so much clout? How does that work? Right? Why has this been given to them? Right? Why has this business just literally been gifted to them, where they can just make billions of pounds in this country, right? When this, right, should be a nationalised industry, because it's too dangerous, right, to be in the hands of a private company, as we've just found out. They only had to close their doors for a couple of hours, right? And the government had to run up in there, because the thing is, right, the nuclear power stations, they need CO2, right? So they need CO2 to work, right? So they was telling the government, listen, we're going to be closing down soon. So that's why the government had to run up in there and deal and go and go and start giving these people tens of millions of pounds. Do you know what I mean? So this is where we are in this country. They've sold off everything, and now you see for yourself. Do you know what I mean? What happens when you sell off all the industries? This is what happens. Do you know what I mean? And so some Brexit news. You Brexiters, yeah, you've managed to ruin bonfire night, right? Because they're saying that like a lot of the wholesalers are saying, you know what, there's too much paperwork and them things there now, right? To be bringing fireworks over, so we're looking at like a 70% cut, right, in the amount of fireworks they're going to be bringing over. Do you know what I mean? I mean, me personally, yeah, I don't really do fireworks because why I just go and take some like £10 notes and burn them in your garden, right? If my next door neighbour does often do them, I'll just watch theirs, right? Because I ain't got money to burn, right? But seriously, this is what's going on over here. Do you know what I mean? With all of these things, right, we're being seriously affected by. Do you know what I mean? And I know a lot of people like to let off fireworks over New Year's as well, isn't it? So all of that, right, is going to be, well, I don't think our New Year's is going to be very good this year anyway. Do you know what I mean? Our Christmas and our New Year's, I think it's going to be a little bit fucked up. Do you know what I mean? So bonfire. So that's what I was reading the report on that. Yeah, that's how the wholesalers are saying. You know what? Now there's too much paperwork, right, to be bringing over the firework. The amount that we used to bring over before. There's just too much paperwork involved in it now. Do you know what I mean? So unless I think that there might be a few companies that make over here as well. Do you know what I mean? But I think a lot of these things are probably made in a lot of them probably made in China, and some might be made in the EU. But they're saying it's too much paperwork, do you know what I mean, to get them in now. So you Brexiters, yeah, you stupid ass racist Brexiters, once again you've ruined something, right? And it happens to be bonfire night this time. Anyway, guys, yeah, this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm James C. John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.